Hello everyone, my name is Christian. Welcome back to Tekpon. Today our guest is Calvin, the founder and CEO at Simplero. Hello.
Hey, Christian. It's good to be here.
Nice to meet you and nice to have you on the podcast. At first, I'll let you talk more about Simplero and about yourself.
For sure. So, I started. Simplero is the problem we solve is if you're a coach or course creator or consultant, service-based business, someone who is like monetizing information. The problem you quickly run into is you need 8-9 different tools to run your business. You need like a website somewhere, then you need like an email marketing platform like MailChimp, Then you need some way to take money. And maybe you do, like I started with Shopify, which is not great for digital products, but some people still use it for that, or like Samcart, or like whatever kind of cart software you use. Then you need video hosting, Wistia, Vimeo, YouTube, whatever. Then you need a membership site that you can host this stuff on, like an LMS like Kajabi or Teachable or something. And then you need a community. A lot of people use Facebook groups, but people want to move off of Facebook, and so then like maybe My Idea Circle or School or something like that. And like before you know it, and then like now you need affiliate tracking, so that's another tool. And before you know it, you have like, and funnel builder, let's not forget that. So maybe you do ClickFunnels or you do like High Level or one of the other funnel builders, whatever. And just pretty soon you have like 9 different tools that you have to manage. And now you got to get them to talk to each other. And that's Zapier, and Zapier gets pricey after a while as well. And it also gets pretty flaky. And so like people don't get the things that they're supposed to get, or they get them and then they quit and they keep getting them forever. I have some of those. I've done some programs. I'm in there for like less than a month. I'm like, no, this is not for me. I cancel it, and I keep having access forever. I'm like, okay, great. Like, but all those things add to your support, to your burden, to like all just the mental bandwidth. You have to switch between all these different tools, and they all work a little bit differently. And then one of them changes and updates, and you're like, oh God, now I have to like blah, blah. So that's the problem we solve. We do it instead of having everything all over the place. You get everything in one place with Simplero, which makes running your business so much simpler. You can focus on the things that you actually care about, like your customers and reaching new people and just serving the people you're here to serve. And we'll have your back. We've got like outrageously great support. It's something that I'm personally very passionate about. I hate bad support. I hate being treated like a machine or a robot or someone that doesn't actually care about me. So something that I put a lot of love and attention into being just unreasonably great support. And because everything is one place, we have kind of the keys to the kingdom. So when this always happens, that you're on vacation and you're sitting in this beach bar and sipping your cocktail, and then something breaks, right? And you're just like, oh my God, I have to go fix it. Well, we're there. Because everything is in one platform, we can see whatever's going on. We can fix whatever it is. We're not going to say, oh, but it's not our problem. You have to go over to them because it's their problem, right? So we can actually help you. And we've got a sort of professional services called concierge, where we'll do it for you for a small fee. So we can, like, whatever you need done, we can help you actually do it and be there with you, really high level white glove. So that's the problem that Simplero solves.
You explained it great, and congratulations. I love it. But I'm curious to know, how do you see the industry? Is this industry growing? Do you have some numbers, trends?
Oh, for sure, it's growing. Yeah.
It's info products, or how do you call it?
Yeah, it's broader than that, right? Because it's info products. So what I got into this business in 2008, and like online courses and membership sites were a thing. Online courses and membership sites are still a thing 16 years later. What I'm seeing is that now a course is still a great thing to do, but what's really having more value is when you bundle some course content with weekly group coaching calls and with a community. Now it gets really powerful and really interesting and really valuable to people. Okay. But the market is constantly expanding, right? Just 5 years ago, it was pretty rare that I met like a random person, on the street or, at an airplane or wherever you talk with people that had bought an online course. I feel like it's getting more and more common that people buy different courses and are used to consuming content in that way and learning in that way. Mm-hmm. So definitely an industry that's growing. I think it'll keep growing for many years. there is that stretch between, or like tension between free content on the internet, free social media, YouTube, especially YouTube for longer form, but like also the Instagrams and the TikToks and all that stuff. Like that content gets better, and podcasts, a lot of podcasts. That content gets better and better and better, and so the courses need to be better still in terms of just delivering results in a structured way. The difference is that you can post all of your stuff for free to YouTube, and people will still buy your stuff, because when you post your stuff to YouTube for free, you're not posting it in sequence, right? You're giving little nuggets here and there. Yes. You might have all your content there, but it's not going to be in the right order, in the right sequence, which really matters. And so you can still charge for the actual course, the actual thing that takes them to the result, to the outcome that they want in the sequence that they need. And then when you add in that coaching support and the coaching calls and the community, it gets really powerful. A lot of people think that like one-on-one coaching is the pinnacle. It's way better than a group coaching. But what actually happens is that when you do a group, it's way more effective for you, or efficient on your time, because you do one group call per week with all your people, and it doesn't matter if there's 10 or 1,000. But because everybody's meeting on that call, it builds community between them. So they have questions, there's some vulnerability, they get to know each other. And now the community portion where they can connect with each other outside of the calls gets so much more valuable. And it's really like you're in that spot where you're adding value just by attracting the right people and instilling that community, and then solving problems for each other. And it's a marvelous thing to watch and behold. It's really cool.
Absolutely. What did you say are the top 3 most loved features in your product?
The top feature is really like, the top 2 are the things that are not really features, which is the fact that we really do all the things that you need to do in one platform. It just makes your life so much simpler. And the second is the support, where if you look at our Trustpilot, for example, like the number one thing that everybody raves about is like our support is just out of this world, exceptional. And it's something that most people don't necessarily value up front, but once they're in and they experience it, or especially if they come from some other platform where they've tried it and then they come to us, then they're like, oh my God, I didn't know it could be this way. In terms of specific features, I think the community stuff that we're launching right now, we just upgraded our whole community experience, is just so exceptionally good. I obsess because we use Simplero to run our business. So I'm personally, as the CEO, as the product visionary and chief product officer, as well as chief executive officer, I'm in the nitty gritty of the user experience. I obsess over user experience every day long, and I'm using it myself. In fact, I am a huge consumer of other people's courses and coaching programs. I probably have 6 different coaches myself right now, and I buy courses all the time to learn more. And I always don't tell anyone this, but I always end up downloading off of whatever platform they're using into my own Simplero account. I don't share it with anybody, but just for myself, just because the experience of actually going through the course works so much better on Simplero. It's like little details, like the fact that we remember your playback speed from video to video, so you don't have to reset it every single time, right? It's like, hello, why wouldn't you do that? And we remember your playback position, so when you come back or you switch to another device, you can pick up where you left off. And then also at the same time, we remember your playback position, but when it's a training video, for example, you can set it so it'll always start at 1x speed, regardless of the user setting, because you don't want to do your workout video on 1.7x speed, right? So like little things like that, we obsess over all the time.
Very good. How about the pricing? How does it work?
We start at $70 a month for like the majority of features, and then up to I think our top plan is like 270 or something a month. And then it scales with the number of contacts, just because we are also the email marketing system and all of that. So that's how we do the pricing.
And how many tools do you actually replace? Is it 10 plus?
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
definitely 10 plus.
in terms of exactly the features.
Yeah, I don't have the exact number, but yeah, more than 10. It's a lot. I didn't mention, for example, scheduling and surveys. So a very common thing if you're a high ticket coach is you do this funnel that has, maybe you have a video webinar or something, and then you have an application where people need to apply. And then if they qualify, then you send them to a booking link to schedule a call with you. Mm-hmm. I've gone through so many of those where like there's a first page and you watch the video and you're like, great. And then they send you to, they have you opt in with name and email and phone number. And then boom, they send you to like some survey tool where they ask you for your name and your email and your phone number and then a bunch of other questions. And then they send you to a scheduler and another platform where they ask you for your name and your email and your phone number. And then you have to book. I'm like that. That's so frustrating.
Yes.
But again, because it's all in one platform, you can ask people one time and then you can build your funnel with a split that says like, if they answer this, that, and the other thing, send them to a page where you can say, hey, it doesn't look like you're a fit right now. Here's like a course that you can buy that would help you get there where you would be a fit for us to work together. And if they are, you send them to the scheduler and then you can like automations, that reminders and all the stuff that happens after the fact right there.
Yeah, so it's more than 10, 100%. Yeah, that's good. I thought you marketed as replacing 10 plus tools or something. I saw a lot of similar companies do things like that.
Yeah.
How about the market? This is what I wanted to ask you. How competitive is it? And
how ultra competitive.
Ultra competitive, right?
Very.
What's your main differentiator or your main?
The main. Whenever we ask our people what it is, it comes back to like we do all of the things that you need to do. We have really, really good support. We're very agile. We're very responsive to our members. It's very easy to reach us. If you have feedback or something, like we're all very easy to reach and have a conversation with. We're very open with our members, both ways. And, I think it's like there are other tools. I think we're the only one that does like all of the marketing kind of business stuff and the community stuff really solidly, really well in one. I don't think there's anyone else that does that. Our whole thing is making it simpler. So that's the thing that we look for every time we design something. Like, how do we make it simpler? And we're also obsessed over beauty, elegance, like elegant simplicity in everything. So if you compare us to some of the others that feel much more kind of kludgy or much more like just throwing random stuff together kind of thing, we have that elegance to it. I'd say that's how we stand out against the competition. Yeah, I had another thought on that I wanted to share, and I can't remember right now what it was. It might come back to me. Yeah.
I want to take it from the past and see exactly when did you start the company? You said 2008?
Yeah, I started this in 2009. So 2009. This is my,
What was the idea behind it? Or the motivation?
Well, the idea was, so I had been doing, I've been through like a personal crisis, like, kind of like coming of age, I guess, like early midlife crisis. Like, what am I here to do? It was like, I was doing programming. I'd started a software consulting firm and it had gone pretty well. I wanted to get into product and I was really struggling. I found that like when I was doing consulting, it was easy to just be backseat driving and be like, oh, if I was the client, if I was in charge here, I would do this. Like the client's dumb. They should be like, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But when I sat and I had this blank slate of like, now build a product that somebody wants to buy, it's like, oh shit, it's hard. It was way harder than I thought. And so that led me into like a whole personal development path, spiritual teacher and therapy and body therapy and all these different things. And then what I realized was that the tools I was learning for myself were really valuable for every other entrepreneur. Every other entrepreneur I know needs this. And really, at the end of the day, if, like I was in that tech startup world, and I saw so many tech founders that, like me, were very left brain, cerebral based. And they were all like, they had these ideas for companies, but there wasn't a lot of heart in it or a lot of soul in it. There wasn't like, but why? Why do you care? Like, what is this about for you? And that was me too. I was just like, oh, maybe if I do this, I'll be successful. Maybe I'll do this, I'll make a lot of money, right? That was my driving. And what I realized was that the question I'd never asked myself is, what am I here to on earth to do? What is my purpose? And when I finally asked that question, the answer was, I'm here to integrate spirituality and entrepreneurship. So that, to me, that means that we get clear on our mental game. We get clear on our emotional game. We like open up those little rooms inside that we don't want to go into because there are feelings that we don't want to feel. We like heal our wounding, our trauma. We align with our purpose. We open our hearts and really operate out of our hearts with the mind as a servant, not as a slave, not the master.
Yes.
And we realize that we can dance with the universe, right? We don't need to brute force our way to everything. But if we shift our state of being, then we can actually make things happen in the world. And that the purpose of business is not to make money. We need to make money because that's how we pay the bills and how we all do a thing. Yes. But the purpose is to bring our gift into the world, right? So there's a self-expression. That's what business is really about. And so I was like, this stuff is what I need to be teaching other people about. And I had no idea how to do that. So I started Googling, and then that's when I discovered this world of online marketing and online courses. And then I was like, okay, great, let me do that. So that was how I got into it. I started doing my own courses. And then as I was doing that, I needed the software, and I had the same exact problem. I was using Shopify for the payments, and then something called Aweber for email, and then something that's dead now that's called Ning for the membership site. And I was like, this is complicated. Like, let me start building this myself. And that's how I was born, one piece at a time.
Amazing. And I guess it's a bootstrap business.
100% bootstrap. Yeah. Yeah.
How big is the overall team?
We're 35-ish now.
Okay. Yeah. And what would you say is the vision for the future?
Well, my vision is the big vision here is every time someone learns something new, you wire a bunch of neurons in your brain, and that expands your consciousness. And expanded consciousness is how we solve every one of the problems that we're facing in the world right now.
Yes.
Yeah. And so the mission, I realized, like, I can't personally coach and teach everybody. But if I can create a platform that allows the coaches and the teachers and the trainers and all those people to train people, educate them, help them, that whether it doesn't matter if you're learning crochet, it's gonna alter your mind. And that's really the journey that I want to set people on, because that is the way that we solve every challenge on the planet.
And are you still giving courses and having your own community?
Yeah, it's funny because I got away from the coaching for a while because I got so focused on the software and building it. And like, I've made every freaking entrepreneurial mistake in the book many times over. One of which was, I don't know if you've read Michael Gerber and the E-Myth, where it's a classic entrepreneurial book, but the E-Myth is all about, he calls it the entrepreneurial seizure, where like you're a baker and you get good at baking. And so you're like baking all the time and you forget to actually build a business. And like Michael Gerber is basically Mr. SOP, right? Write some standard operating procedures, write some playbooks, and like get some systems. Think of it as a franchise. How would you teach people how to do this stuff? And I was like, I read that book. I was like, that sounds amazing. And then I just kept coding and coding and coding and coding and coding. So that was my entrepreneurial seizure. But so I was so busy coding that I forgot about the coaching, and now I'm doing coaching again. I've been doing that for a little bit over a year now, and it's the most satisfying thing in the world. I'm like, why did I? Anyway, I did stop, but now I am doing it again. It's just amazing. So helping I help people that are like the Simplero type people, like the coaches and consultants and course creators and those people get their stuff out into the world. So I work with people who are Simplero users on their business and their personal growth. But like, to me, it's like every business problem is a personal problem that shows up in business. And every personal problem is a spiritual problem, whether you know it or not. And the reason why is underneath all personal development is underneath our personality is the feeling that I'm not enough and therefore I won't be loved. We all have that. I'm not enough, therefore I won't be loved. And that's
all
what
gets people or
it,
just entrepreneurs?
Everybody.
Okay.
Everybody. Yeah.
Okay.
Entrepreneurs definitely have it, like probably have it stronger. So I don't know how much time we have, but the sidetrack. So when you're 0 years old, your first year of living, it's all dopamine in your brain. You're like, you look your mom in the eyes and she looks back at you and it's just like right brain to right brain is like dopamine. Like it's just like, and like you get dopamine hits all the time.
Okay.
After you turn 1, at some point between the age of 1 and 2, you start having mobility. You can move around, you can crawl. And so now you can get into trouble. And what happens is that you hear the word no, right? Stop, don't do that, careful, yada. You don't understand the words, obviously, but you get the meaning. And what happens is you go from oxytocin, I'm out exploring, this is exciting, what's all this stuff? And then like, no. And then you like, boom, you get noradrenaline and I forgot some other brain chemical that just like triggers like stress and
serotonin.
Not serotonin, no, but noradrenaline or cortisol maybe, yeah, something like that. Like the sympathetic ones, right? The negative ones are not negative, but the ones that would activate your sympathetic nervous system.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then the ideal situation is that your mom or your dad immediately after holds you, comforts you, he's like, hey, it's not you. I just need you to not do that because you could hurt yourself and get you love. And so you get from dopamine to noradrenaline to back to dopamine. Usually that doesn't happen. And so now what happens is that we take it in as shame, as I'm wrong for doing this. And this is how I need to behave to get love. And so this is how I need to behave, but really this is who I need to be loved. And it creates that separation between who I really am and who I think I need to be. And I think that tends to be stronger for entrepreneurs, which makes us more driven to go achieve stuff. Mm-hmm. And the problem is if we don't fix that, because the problem is that so we get into personal development. So like we overcome that not enoughness, right? Whether it's like not rich enough or not beautiful enough or not attractive enough or not famous enough or not whatever it is for us, for you, we get there and then we do that work and then we get the results and then we realize it's never enough. The goalposts keep moving and moving and moving because you can never heal that split through the personality. The only way that you can get over that is by going to spirit, by going to your soul, by going to consciousness, to awareness that's eternal and already perfect always, where that it's not even a factor. It doesn't exist. But we keep thinking that we can fix it in here in the personality aspect. We can't. And so that is why I say every personal problem is really a spiritual problem at the core.
But were you ever afraid of talking about this in business? Were you ever thinking that some people say that you are stupid or don't know what you're talking about or don't agree or avoid you or something like that?
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, when I started, like when this hit for me in 2008, I was like, I thought I was the first person in the world to ever think of entrepreneurship and spirituality together. And then I started Googling and there's like one book on the topic, or not Googling, Amazon, and I guess, but there's like literally one book that I could find on the topic. Later on, I realized, oh, actually, Gay Hendricks had written a book on like conscious entrepreneurship or something a while back. And there's like other people. And then as the years have gone on since, like now it's everywhere. Everybody's talking about it. And that, yeah, it was like in the beginning, it was like nobody understood what the hell I was saying. And so what I did was actually like, in 2008, I was living in Denmark at the time. Like nobody would buy I couldn't find anybody who would buy a course about like spiritual growth for entrepreneurs. But what they all wanted, they wanted more customers. So I'm like, okay. I had been studying internet marketing at that point. So I'm like, okay, let me teach them how to get more customers, and then we'll sneak the spiritual personal growth in the back door. And I think still to a large extent, that's how it's done. Like with my the coaching program I have, which I call Simplero Academy, people want more customers, right? It's and that's totally cool. I was talking to someone the other day who's like a big name healer. He's like energy person. He's Tony Robbins' energy guy. They've worked together for 20 years. And he told me as well that like everybody comes to him wanting business problems solved. And it always turns out is like it's relationship or it's health. There's like other things that are really the issue, but they always start with the business stuff. So, and that's totally cool. It's fine. But at the end of the day, it's what we need. And yeah, it's like for a long time, I thought that this was only something that I cared about because I was so broken. And then I realized, no, like, hey, I'm not broken, but I mean,
everybody is.
I was really emotionally broken, but like, I'm not fundamentally broken. And that was a big thing for me to realize, like, oh shit, I thought like I was particularly flawed, and there's not everybody, but a lot of people have that kind of feeling
at one point.
Yeah. But then I realized, no, yeah, it's everybody. So like, okay, you should share my journey. Yeah.
I love this.
And I want to give people permission too, like to not like, I felt so weird because I needed that. And they just like, I remember seeing an article in Fast Company. This is probably like around 2010 or something, where like some entrepreneur talked about how he had a therapist and that was really helpful. And I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. I'm not the only one. I thought I was the crazy one. Right. So I just want to, normalize it and say, hey, yeah, that's totally cool. Like we all do it. We all need it.
That's a great mission. I have one last question for you before we close down the podcast. What would be your best piece of advice for a starting founder?
Do something you really care about. Do something that you care about beyond the money or the success or the results. It's probably going to be 10 times harder than you think it's going to be, but it's also going to be 10 times more rewarding than you think it's going to be, because the reward is not in the results, the money, the outcomes. It's in who you become in the process. That's what really matters at the end of the day. So focus on something that really stretches you because you really give a damn.
I love it. Perfect ending. I love this conversation. Thank you so much, Kelvin. It was amazing. Is there anything else that you want to share on the podcast?
No, I'm good. Thank you, Christian. Super fun. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I love what you're doing. Making things right in the world. It's fucking amazing.
Thank you so much.